Shields up, Iron Breakers. We're kind of here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And today I'm going to be bringing you my Elemental Charge Blade build. Now, as you guys probably know, I did a video yesterday talking about elemental damage, Namiel set piece bonus, as well as the different augmentations that you can put onto different weapons that are going to somehow influence your selection and build. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to be putting it on the top right hand side. It gives you a little bit more context as to the decisions that I've made for this particular build. Having said that, there are a lot of choices that you have to make when you are considering making an elemental charge blade set, because you have the damage of your elemental files, you have the physical portion of the damage of your weapon, you have the elemental damage portion of your weapon, not counting the file damage, which is different, and it's just like completely been breaking my brain over the last couple of days. And having said that, there's also a couple of quality of life things that I personally really like about the Charge Blade, which also got me to select this build. I'll try to justify most of the choices made here to the best of my ability, but it is very much a custom tailored build for my playstyle, which means that your own playstyle might require to do something different. If you want bigger numbers, if you want more raw damage, if you want more elemental damage, because it is important to establish somewhat of a balance there that suits your own natural playstyle. Anyway, let's begin. For the weapon in this particular video, we are watching the Death Axe Val Espida, but at the end of the video, I will link you an image of all of the builds for every single element. The weakest one is hands down the Water Elemental Charge Blade, because the only one available right now is the Gyrototus, and that's kind of trash. But anyway, in this case, as I was saying, we got the Death Axe Val Espida. It is really not that augmented at all. Naturally, if you want to augment this, you're going to have to make a couple of choices. You can either go with health regen and get yourself a little bit of health regen, then mix in a little bit of elemental damage if that's what you want. Or if you really want as much damage as possible on your elemental files, you're going to want to augment as much as you possibly can into elemental damage. When it comes to custom upgrades for this particular charge blade, I would go all the way into elemental damage. So all of those 50 elemental damage points just like straight up in there. Right now I have only one custom upgrade made, which is why the charge blade looks like Gyrototus' charge blade. So anyway, this weapon has a ton of dragon damage. It's got power element files, it's got a little bit of Elder Seal, and it's got some really good sockets, which is going to allow us for a lot of versatility in the build. This is probably one of the better sets. The other sets might not be as good because you don't have as much versatility due to the fact that the weapon slots naturally are going to change. So anyway, Death Axe Val Espida, we're going to socket that with 2 Tenderizer Jewels. Then, for the helmet, we're going to be using the Rime Guard Helm Beta. This is mostly because we want to get the crit element set bonus, so that's why we're using Velkhana pieces. We got the Slider Expert Jewel in there, but some of these jewels you might have to swap around. I really am missing a lot of jewels at this point, so, you know, if you got something better, use something better. Then we have another Tenderizer Deco to max out the Tenderizer. Then we have the Tentacle Cloak Beta. Now, the main reason why we're using this one is because we are going to get the 2-piece set bonus from Namiel, which should be enough for you to get most of your charge blades into their elemental cap. However, there is a number that I will talk about later in this video that you will probably want to swap into 4-piece Namiel if you really want impressive file damage. But anyway, continuing onwards, we're going to put an Iron Wall Evasion Jewel in there. I know it's not really a great jewel, doesn't really help us all that much, but I like having that Iron Wall. Every now and then you'll be able to pull off a couple of good guard points with it. Put a magazine jewel in there naturally because magazine's important. It extends the duration of your shield buff. We also have the Rime Guard Vamp Braces there, thus completing the 2-piece Velkhana set bonus. I'm going to put a Charger and Protection Jewel 4. We are going to have a lot of protection on this set. I believe we actually max it out. Yeah, we do max out Divine Blessing on this particular set. And as you guys know, I love playing Focus on Charge Blade. This is one of those quality of life things. I personally can barely play Charge Blade without Focus at this point because I'm just so used to the faster timings on all of the abilities. If you don't care about, you know, Focus, you can swap these out for Critical Boost and they will increase your damage numbers significantly. But, you know, your charges and stuff are going to be a little bit slower. Moving right along, we got the Tentacle Coil Beta, thus completing the 2-piece Namiel set bonus. We're going to be using a Satiated Expert Jewel Again, I know my decos aren't great. Then we also are using a Dragon Jewel in here, which is going to max out our dragon damage. An Expert Jewel plus 4, which only gives two critical eye points. Don't think that this is 4 critical eye points. Everybody should have this decoration. You get it for free at some point as you begin playing Iceborne. Then you have 2 Charger Jewels in there, completing the 3-piece for focus. And finally, we have the Wormsbane Charm 5, which is as much as you can upgrade it, which is going to max out our dragon attack. In the Vitality Mantle, I put 2 Flawless decos in there, because usually if you're putting the Vitality Mantle on, you should be able to heal yourself up to full, and then you'll be able to maintain Flawless for a little bit. So that's kind of what I went with there. My Temporal Mantle isn't really upgraded yet, so I can't really put anything on it. Now, when you take a look at the final build, you got Critical Eye level 7, Dragon Attack level 6, Weakness Exploit level 3. Do remember that now, in order to take full advantage of Weakness Exploit, you are required to soften up the parts of the monster, which is actually fairly easy with the Charge Blade. Basically, one attack, and you soften up any part that you want to hit. So it's fairly easy to take advantage of Weakness Exploit. We also have 3 Focus. Like I said, if you don't want Focus, I would advise you to go for Critical Boost, but take whatever you want. We have 3 points in Divine Blessing, mostly because we're getting Divine Blessing from different parts in our armor. Because unfortunately, the armor bits that we are using here, we're going after the set bonuses, so they don't give us a lot of really significant stats. Then we also have Blood Resistance, not really something we're aiming for. Capacity Boost, naturally, from the magazine. Constitution, Stamina Surge, Evade Window, not really stuff that we care about, but Guard. Guard, I'd advise you guys to try and keep at least 1 guard, because it does help you out for the guard points. We have 1 in Quick Sheet. Free Meal. Free Meal is useful, but you don't have to get it. Flinch Freeze, pretty good when you're in a multiplayer hunt, particularly because now there's a lot more weapons that kind of spin stuff around and you get flinched a lot more often. Affinity Sliding, while not amazing, it is decent. Then you got the Peak Performance Recovery up coming in from our mantles. Finally, we also have the set bonus skills Namiel Divinity for Element Acceleration and Critical Element on Velkhana. Now, the way Element Acceleration works is after a couple of hits on the monster, it is going to increase your elemental damage. I don't remember exactly what the number is, but two pieces increases it a little bit, 4 pieces it increases it significantly more. But like I said, for most Charge Blades, until you really start augmenting the crap out of them and increasing the amount of elemental damage that they have on their base, 2-piece Namiel is going to do you for most of them, okay? So now let's talk about this set. Why did I go with Element Acceleration and Critical Element, right? So there's a couple of things to take into account here. For starters, the more elemental damage you put on your weapon, the more damage you're going to be dealing with your elemental files. That's pretty basic. So whenever you're doing a super amped elemental discharge, you're going to see bigger numbers on the files. However, when you get to Savage Axe Slash, you're going to notice that your files are going to be a bit of a smaller piece of the pie. They're still there, and there's plenty of impact files going off whenever you are doing Savage Axe Slash, but they're going to be hitting for less because there's just so many of them happening at the same time. And at this point is when you need to decide, do I want to have more raw damage, because that is going to bring the bigger numbers of the bigger hits on the Savage Axe Slash by lowering a little bit of the files, or do I want to have the bigger files? And this is also going to be something that will most likely change from monster to monster depending on the hit zones of the monsters, and there's just way too many variables for me to be able to really calculate this stuff. I leave this math stuff to Jinx and Tuna, to be completely honest, but anyway, that is why I went with this particular combination. I take the critical element so that your big hits of the weapon also take into consideration the elemental damage that you've been stacking all this time throughout this build, and then you also get decent amount of element file damage if you want to go for an SAD. This particular set allows me to do both playstyles and be reasonably good at both. So basically what I'm trying to say is, look, if you want to have the most impressive elemental damage numbers when it comes to super amped elemental discharge, you're probably looking at really buffing up your charge blades as much as you possibly can to really get them into that threshold, which I believe is probably somewhere in between 500 elemental damage and 600 elemental damage, where 4-piece Namiel set bonus is really going to kick in and really give you the impressive super amped elemental discharge numbers, and you're looking at playing much more with super amped elemental discharge. If on the other hand you want to focus more on Savage Axe Slash, I think you're looking at trying to get some crit boost into this set instead, because your big hits with the Savage Axe Slash are going to deal that much damage, and your files are still going to be there to deal a ton of damage too. But again, there's a ton of variables here. I'm not 100% sure what the best way of doing it, which is why for my personal playstyle, I went with this build. It allows me to do both. It allows me, like, look, I don't have an opening right now. I'm going to go for a super amped elemental discharge to see if I can stagger him. And then after the monster gets staggered, then I'm going to kick him in with the Savage Axe Slash. That's the playstyle that I'm going for. But again, this is one of those times where I really welcome feedback from you guys, because I've heard a lot of people say, oh no, the Rathalos 4-piece set bonus is better than anything else. Oh no, the Namiel 4-piece set bonus is the best. Oh no, you know, going for none of those and just going for physical damage is the best. There's a lot of discussion going out right now, and it's super exciting. Like I also said in my previous video, it's just like super exciting trying to figure all this stuff out. This playstyle works for me for pretty much anything, with the exception of like water, because the water charge blade just kind of really sucks. There's no real good water power element solution right now. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the build in the comment section down below. All of your comments and feedback down there. If you guys enjoyed it, hit it up with a like. If you guys hated it, hit it up with a dislike. If you enjoy my content, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. You'll be notified whenever I go live with a live stream, whenever I put up a new video. Hopefully, maybe YouTube will notify you, maybe, who knows. But for now, this is going to be it. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.